Welcome back and welcome to our weekly edition of All Things Women in Sports. The WNBA playoffs are in full swing and it's do or die tonight for the Indiana Fever. But first, let's talk about Sunday's incredible performance in Indianapolis. Indiana entered this game down 2-1 in this best-of-5 series against the Las Vegas Aces. The winner moves on to the WNBA championship. So on Sunday, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Odyssey Sims, and the rest of the team decided they weren't ready for their season to end. Boston had a playoff career-high 24 points on her way to a double-double. She was only beaten in points by Mitchell, who had 25. And now it all comes down to tonight when the Fever take on the Aces in Game 5 in Las Vegas. The winner will face the Phoenix Mercury in the 2025 WNBA Finals. The Phoenix completed the upset on Sunday, defeating the top-ranked Minnesota Lynx 86-81. They were led by veteran forward Alyssa Thomas, who put up 23 points in this weekend's comeback win. This means the Mercury have defeated both of last year's finals teams, Minnesota and New York, in this year's playoffs. Now they'll wait and see who they'll be playing, depending on who wins tonight's Fever and Aces game. But we need to talk about Minnesota for a second. In Sunday's loss, the Lynx were without their best player and league MVP runner-up right there on the ground, Napheesa Collier, who was injured in the final minutes of the previous Game 3 against the Mercury. And this was a heartbreaking moment for the superstar. She was sidelined for part of the summer with a different injury. And the Lynx also didn't have their head coach in Sunday's Game 4. When Fee got injured in Game 3, there was no foul called. Minnesota head coach Cheryl Reeve then had to be restrained from confronting the referees. She ran out on the court and was ultimately ejected. Later that night in the post-game conference, she used profanity to call it malpractice, that the refs in that game had been chosen for a semifinal showdown. Today, the Associated Press is reporting Reeve has been fined a record $15,000 for her comments. It's believed to be the largest individual fine in the league's history. But she wasn't the only one. Today, we found out Fever coach Stephanie White and Aces coach Becky Hammon were also fined $1,000 each for their public comments defending Reeve. Now, officiating has long been a problem in the WNBA. For years, and after many of the games this season, coaches, players, and fans have called for change, saying the reffing in the W is too physical, not consistent, and puts player safety in jeopardy. There's also arguments that referees are not trained in women's basketball rules. I mean, you've seen players fined all season long for comments made in person and on social media about the reffing. That includes Fever players like Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. You also have to remember all of this is coming as the WNBA and its players are in the middle of negotiating a new players' contract. Well, earlier today, it came to a head for Napheesa Collier. In a press conference, Collier openly criticized WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for what she called the tone-deaf and dismissive approach the league's leaders always seem to take. Collier also said the biggest threat to the W right now is a lack of accountability. Collier is the Players Association vice president and told reporters about a few specific conversations she's had with Engelbert, including one in February. Collier says she asked about how the league will address reffing issues. She alleges Engelbert's response was only losers complain about the refs. Collier also says she asked how young players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers, who are driving massive amounts of revenue to the league, can bring in such low salaries. Collier says the commissioner's response was, quote, Caitlin should be grateful to make $16 million off the court because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. Now, Collier said she fully expects to be fined for her comments. So now we'll wait and see what happens in the league, as well as tonight and throughout the rest of the finals, including the run-up to the contract negotiations. But for tonight, that'll do it for us for this edition of Women in Sports.